Hello. This is the first time of us using stages, and it's an exciting way for us to have conversations with people who are a part of our community. In this case, we're talking with our friends at Crowd Control. But let me introduce myself real quick. Hi, I'm Lou. I'm Lou. I'm head of community experience here at Tiltify, and I get to help organize conversations like this. And if you've seen any of our community spotlights or features, those sorts of things, that is what I get to do. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about Moni, who's joining us from Crowd Control, community manager over at the amazing integration with our platform that allows Tiltify users and fundraisers to leverage the power that was made over at Warp World, that is known as Crowd Control. So what we're going to do, it's going to be, we're going to learn about Moni, we're going to learn about Crowd Control and how you can use it to fundraise, and how you can maybe use it for non-fundraising things. As if you're a creator, it's a good tool to use overall, but definitely a good tool to use if you're a creator who fundraises for charities that are on Tiltify. And then we'll have, and we'll open the floor to questions. If you have questions, if we do pull you up on stage, we ask you to, of course, state your gamer tag or your Discord ID, your Discord tag. Let us know who you are, and then do let us know when you're done asking your question, because we don't want to cut you off. I think that's the housekeeping there, but this is awesome. And we'll also try to keep an eye out in the chat as well. So if you guys are asking questions in the chat, maybe we can address those towards the end of the conversation. But let's hop on in. Moni, how are you?
Hi, Lou. I'm doing great. I'm actually right now in California. It's kind of chilly today. It feels like it's been really cold.
Oh, okay. What's chilly to you in California?
Well, I'm from Latin America, so I come from like a really warm and humid environment. So right now it's probably like in the 60s. So for me, that's pretty cold.
That's fair. We have coworkers in Arizona, and they say it's 60 degrees and it's so cold. It's 78 degrees. Our social media manager Draskia says, and it's cold here. So
Yeah, so I'm chilly.
that's awesome. You're chilling and you're chilly. That's perfect combination. What got you into content creation? I'm assuming that's where you got your start, because your Twitter ID says Moni Streams, right? Why content creation? Why so bold to be a content creator?
It's so funny because right now I'm taking a break from streaming and everyone jokes around me being Moni doesn't stream. So there you go. So yeah, basically how I got started in gaming and content creation. It started actually when I was growing up. I really loved video games, but my parents kind of like didn't encourage it that much. And they were like, no, you have to study and do extracurricular and stuff like that. So when I was really little, I just stopped playing video games until I went to college. I actually went to university in the States, and I kind of got into speedrunning. I was just looking for some 3D Mario action on YouTube, found GDQ, which is like one of the biggest,
Mhm.
charity platforms and speedrunning events out there. So I was like, I fell in love with it, and then I started streaming myself. That led me into even more games in the speedrunning scene, which is how I ran into Super Mario World and Mario Maker. And that's kind of where I met, Jakku, the CEO of Warp World, and Grand Pooh Bear, which are all former Mario Maker creators. But then they founded Warp World. And that's kind of like my journey of how I started, how I ended up where I am right now. And then I became like a Super Mario speedrunner for a little bit. Well, actually for like 4 years, if I really
that
if I really
that's
think about it.
I mean, you could get a degree in that amount of time. So I would say that's not a little bit. That's a significant amount of time.
Yeah, so I streamed a lot of Super Mario World and like Retro Mario, and I loved it. But now, since crowd control and Warp World has grown so much, I'm dedicating a lot of my time that I would have put into streaming into putting more into our Warp World community and helping with crowd control and creating cool events and stuff like that. So that's kind of why my streaming is like on a pause. And but take streaming breaks, and that's fine, and then you come back and you love it even more. So that's kind of how I see it.
No, that's very true. We definitely here at Tiltify we have an amazing group of content creators who also make that work life balance between. I guess it's work life balance when it comes to
Oh yeah,
creating content.
absolutely.
You did mention Jakku is listening. Hi, Jakku. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the chat as well. I see you there. No, okay. So let's talk a little bit about speedrunning. So if talk to me as if I have never seen speedrunning before. I want to understand why are you doing this?
I mean, that's a really good question. But yeah, speedrunning basically is to try to beat a video game as fast as you can. Of course, there's games like RPGs, for example, that have a start and an end. So that's pretty linear in that case to beat it as fast as you can, or like a platformer like Mario, how how fast can you get to that end and final boss and get the credits. So that's kind of what speedrunning is, just going as fast as you can to beat a game. But of course, there's games that don't have like an ending sequence, or like they're different. So speedrunning is also about, like create different challenges inside of games and seeing how fast you can do it. For example, in Super Mario World, there's actually a category called one jump, which is so dumb. But basically, you have to just do a frame perfect trick. And then it's literally how fast can you go through the levels to do that trick. So speedrunning is all about doing things fast. It doesn't matter if it's finishing a game, which is the main thing, but also to how fast can you do some challenges.
It sounds like it reminds me of like skateboarding culture. I don't know what resonates with me with this, but it reminds me of like hanging out. I wasn't a skateboarder, but I had a lot of friends who were, but watching them do the tricks and try to just outperform each other and do more of them and do it smoother. That's awesome. It is fascinating to watch speedrunners, to watch them almost break the game. I'm sure it makes the developers weep as they
Absolutely.
destroy these level designs by finding all the tricks behind speedrunning. That's fantastic. So what got you to the folks at Warp World and eventually to crowd control? Were you initially, did you say I'm going to be your community manager? What was that journey like?
That's actually exactly how it happened. So I was really, well, I still am. I was, oh my God, the T. I am still really good friends with, I'm good friends with Grand Pooh Bear. He's a Super Mario speedrunner. He's a Red Bull athlete, actually their only speedrunner. Um, so back then, this was early 2018. He had just founded the company Warp World, which started because of a Mario Maker queue. So if you've ever played Super Mario Maker, especially Super Mario Maker 1, you know that you could create levels and then you could send your friends your levels for them to play them. And then, so Warp World created this tool that basically let you play your viewers levels, like let's say like, hey, I want to play my community's levels. They created a tool that basically let you submit your level codes and organize them in a really cool way so that it would make it easy for the streamer to track what levels they beat, to for viewers to send them directly to that queue and not have to use like a Google sheet or like a Discord or stuff like that.
Sure.
It just made that process really automatic, and it got really popular in the Mario Maker community. So just after that, Jakku, Grand Pooh Bear, Xwater, another Mario creator, they kind of came together to create this startup, and that was like the main product then. But it also had like a podcast and other things they were doing as a group. So back then I was like really good friends with Pooh, and I was like, hey, I see that no one, like, you guys have a bunch of followers. There were three decent sized Twitch partners. They had a strong following. They had a team Twitter, but they had like 300, 400 followers, something like that. And that didn't make sense to me. And so I literally just messaged Pooh and I was like, hey, would you mind if I start like running your Twitter account? This is legit. This happened. And he was like, you know what? Sure, why not?
Wow,
And
that's a really rigorous interview process right
yeah,
there.
exactly. And just around that same time when I asked him to join, it was in the behind the scenes, they were actually in the process of making crowd control, like making crowd control happen as a project for Warp World. So it was just about that turning point for the company where they were about to put a lot of time into creating cool stuff. So it was like the perfect time for me to like join, if that makes sense. And this was like June of 2018. So it's about to be 3 years.
that's that's amazing. And so that's like that is the testament to shooting your shot. Like if I've ever
Oh,
heard of
absolutely.
just
That
like, you
was
know what?
100% me shooting my shot.
Like I'm gonna just do it. I love that. So so let's shift gears just a little bit and talk about crowd control. Like crowd control is its own creature, right? It's an integration that creators can add to their channel, their Twitch channel, to add like another level of engagement with their community and with viewers. Talk about what it's like to be a creator and to use crowd control, and why would you do this to yourself?
I mean, what we say about crowd control is that it takes community interaction to the next level. Something that we as creators on Twitch, like we get that instant gratification when we chat with your with your community, you're chatting, it's live, it's a really direct interaction. But this just takes it to another level. Because it's just a super different way for your community to affect your gaming and streaming environment. So I mean, I think it's an amazing way to even interact more with your community. I also think that it's a really something that we say a lot is that it's also a different way to creating revenue because um you can have the donations and the subs, but technically sometimes you want to give your community even more for giving you a monetary support, and we really like that crowd control. It's like a new innovative way to creating revenue for a creator. So that's also a really important part for us, and of course in the end our Tiltify, how we've collaborated to make crowd control a charity tool, which is something that we wanted from that first moment that we created it, to for viewers to directly support um, different charities and amazing causes by interaction and messing up with your favorite streamer. But you can also help them, so it's definitely balanced.
Right, right. And just to clarify, like, so crowd control for you have a growing list of games that the creator can play, and crowd control allows the viewer, the community, to interact and affect what may happen in during the process of gameplay.
Yeah,
Can you give
in
me
real
like,
time.
yeah, in real time? Can you give it like a classic example? If someone who's listening later is like, I don't know what you're talking about. What can you do specifically? That's a great. They know it's a classic example.
Of course. One of my favorite examples, and this is really easy, if a streamer is playing Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo with crowd control, your community can pay a certain amount of coins to send you a one up to make Mario grow. Or if you're playing The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, also for the Super Nintendo, you can literally kill the player on the spot, right where it is. So maybe they're at the end of a boss or a castle, and then you want to kill them, then there you go, on the
Oh,
spot, and they have to start all over again.
oh, that's rough.
We also can mess up with the controllers. We have a popular one is swap d-pad and buttons, and like invert controllers. So there's hundreds of effects for over 50 games right now. So it can definitely be chaos, but it's definitely fun.
Oh, that's amazing. Um, so I'm assuming you've used crowd control, and what was the one that maybe your community has griefed you with the most? What's the game? What's the I guess the incentive, or what do you call like those the individual items to interact with the crowd? Do you have a name for it, or
Oh,
interact with the game?
we call them if so they're effects.
Effects.
Yeah, effects that they send to the game. I think one that has always been a crowd favorite is the cuckoo storm in Zelda: A Link to the Past. So basically, you can trigger so that Link gets attacked by cuckoos everywhere he goes, and instantly. So sometimes people mix it with like cuckoo storms, and then they put like one hit KO and
Oh
swap your
no.
controllers. So it's like the death combo because they can die instantly, and the cuckoos are coming from every angle of the screen. So it's basically unavoidable death.
That's amazing. So what so the thing about this though is that the viewer or the audience or the community member has to pay. Like they have to throw in something in order for this effect to take place, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, crowd control can be powered like it has three main ways. So it can be via bits, because it's a bit enabled extension. So they can buy bits in the stream, or they can buy bits on Twitch and then convert them into coins through the crowd control extension to get like the crowd control currency, which is coins, and then they can use those. It's 100 coins per one for 100 bits. So just one bit, one coin,
Gotcha.
and then they can use that to purchase effects. And the pricing is customizable, so streamers can decide like, hey, if I want to, you know what, I'm gonna make a cheap session so that people can actually like interact more and send me whatever. So sometimes streamers opt to have really low prices so that more people can interact. Of course, the bigger the streamer, the more they want to probably put those prices up so they don't get
Right.
absolutely spammed. We've had that happen before. But it's definitely customizable. Viewers can also use channel points now,
Oh,
to get coins on the extension as well. And of course, our charity settings, which basically enable that they can donate through to the specific charity through the extension, and based on the amount they donate to the cost, they get the coins in the extension as well.
right. Well, that's a good way for us to kind of shift gears and move more towards. Okay, so you said that crowd control was inspired. What the concept behind crowd control at its onset was to be focused on charity, to have some sort of integration in that vein. What is the connection to charity? Like, why? What was there a particular charity in mind, or what's the why behind why Warp World wanted to use crowd control in this way?
I don't think it was a specific charity. It's because we had a really big charity background, being such a part of like for example, Grand Pooh Bear used to run a lot in games on Quick, and it had been on a part of us that we wanted crowd control to become one of those vehicles. We didn't want it just to be a donation. I mean, in the end, it is, but we're giving the donator even an even bigger reward to be able to play alongside with their favorite streamers. So it wasn't, it was more about supporting charities in a really different, unique, innovative way, more than a specific charity itself. But we are super lucky to be working with the charities that we have, especially with St. Jude, which was our first big charity, and they were kind of like the partner we needed to make it happen, and then with you guys, so I feel like it was just like a match made in heaven.
Well, and I think the exciting thing is uh, I mean, the charities are loving it, and you all are really connecting with a lot of charities in, adoption of this tool. We went from maybe a couple at the start of this year to like almost a dozen charities have opted into this feature. What sort of activity have you seen with like the usage of this integration for charity?
Woof, I've seen so much. So well, it all started with our St. Jude summit event that we did last year, where we got to raise over $50,000 for St. Jude in about 12 hours, which was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But we've also seen, for example, at the beginning we only had a few charities like you mentioned, and then for example for the St. Jude season, they also like streamers would do different games that we offered as incentives to get even more to the donation pod that they were like trying to grow. And then, for example, a few days ago, I saw a streamer, Rum Scout, actually. He's doing a crowd control marathon with a bunch of crowd control games, all toward direct relief. So I think seeing how crowd control has become a part of marathons or personal incentives that creator have has become, I don't know, I love seeing it. And I think it's amazing that crowd control can be a part of so much change.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So as you're watching these different streamers and these different content creators use crowd control, what are some things, if you have folks listening, and I think that we have maybe some new folks joining us, if you were a charitable fundraiser and you leverage Twitch as your platform, it feels like you should use crowd control regardless. Like if especially if you're in the speedrunning community. But when it comes to fundraising, if you found one of our charity partners who are using crowd control, what are some of the cool best practices that you've seen these particular uh, content creators use to find success?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the best practices for crowd control, I would say definitely take a close look at your pricing. I feel like that definitely can change how much interaction you get and how much money you can raise. I think that's really important. I also would recommend always the games that you play. Sometimes I see that maybe some streamers want to change entirely the game that they play with crowd control and they don't do that well. But I would suggest that you can tie your favorite game that you always play with another new one that is completely different, so that you can probably have winning from both of those. But I think definitely taking a closer look at the prices is definitely what has been the most impactful way to, you know, to take care of your campaign.
I love it. What is some of your favorite campaigns that you've seen recently? You mentioned the amazing, St. Jude campaign where there was an incredible amount of crowd control effects that went through that went on to be donations to the charity. But has there been anything recently that you've seen that you're like, oh, this is exactly why we're doing this? That's so exciting.
Yeah, I actually think that that one that I just told you about, that Rum Scout for
Oh, cool.
direct relief, I had never seen one single streamer do like so many crowd controls in a row. I was like, wow, you must really have a lot of patience.
Well,
Because
I know Andrew, and I know Rom Scout. He comes from the speedrunning world, so I'm sure he was having a heyday with all the games. Did you just have him lined up and he's just playing one after the other? What was
yeah,
his?
I don't think it was one right after the other, but he had a lot of them in that same schedule. So I was like, wow, that is impressive. I know that I would personally never do it, and I love crowd control. But I think we're also cooking up some amazing things in the future. Recently we announced our partnership with the Trevor Project, which is one that we really wanted to make happen, and we are already planning a really cool campaign for coming out day later in the year. And I think that it's going to be absolutely amazing. And then this weekend, we also have, well, this Friday, we have coming up our 2021 St. Jude event, which is actually going to be a 24-hour crowd control marathon with a bunch of streamers, Grand Pooh Barricade, um, the Black Tastic,
I was going to
among
say
others.
I just saw Bobby fundraising, Blacktastic fundraising for Charity Water, and I think it was Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and it was so fun, just watching uh, the audience, the community, totally grief him, but for the best reasons, right? For
He is
the
a crowd control champion. I think he's done all of the packs we've ever offered. He's amazing, and I'm so glad that we got to have him in our roster for this year.
Well, you mentioned the Trevor Project. Do you have a date for the Trevor Project? The folks wanted to tune in to see. That's Warp World. That's crowd control saying we're supporting Trevor Project. Correct?
Oh, absolutely, we
Yeah.
are.
Hmm. Yeah. What is that day? What is that? Do you have the day in mind? Do you have that set in stone yet?
Coming out day is October 11th, so it's gonna
Okay.
be around that. So
Oh,
it's,
okay.
yeah, it's still coming soon, but it's happening.
Soon,
And
soon.
we're actually, well, maybe to give like a little sneak peek, we are actually in the process of getting Stardew Valley crowd control. And that's gonna be one of our biggest games for that event.
Oh
And
my
we have
goodness.
yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I already have some streamers interested in that. And then, I can't say anything else, but we have other big games coming soon-ish. And I think another important thing that I wanted to say, that it's not about speed running that much anymore. We used to start as a speed running focused kind of like product because we
Hmm.
were coming from that speed running vein. But nowadays, like, we support like Dark Souls and Fall Guys and Minecraft. So we've definitely have offer in game packs that can definitely tickle that PC gamer kind of like interest more than just the retro. But retro is still like at the heart of our company, if that makes sense.
No, no, it's good to grow, and it's exciting to hear that you are expanding, and that's amazing. Stardew Valley, I can't believe that. That's going to be so fun. I'm looking forward to seeing
It's gonna
what
be crazy.
really looking forward to seeing what your community does with that. That's amazing. Well, at this point, I don't have any other questions. You actually went. You helped drive that list like crazy. So thank you. Checked all the boxes, all the things I wanted to talk about today. So at this point, I do want to, if anybody in the audience wants to join us on stage, and it maybe if you have a question for Moni, or a question in general about maybe crowd control, or a question about fundraising, any one of those things, I'm happy to field some questions. But really, Moni's here to answer your questions, and I don't quite know how this works just yet, so I have to see if you have any requests. And if nobody has anything else, we'll hang out for a bit and just chat. But hopefully somebody has something to say. I think you just click the request to be on stage, or I don't know what the button is because I. Oh, here we go. Somebody's getting on stage. I know who this
Oh no,
person
that's
is.
just me.
Oh, hi, it's Draskia. Draskia is our multimedia manager, our social media manager. Hi,
It's
Becky.
multi at this point.
You're a
Hi,
multi-social media manager.
Hi, Dreskia.
nice to meet you. I was just hoping to help get anyone on stage that needed or field any questions.
Thank you.
Oh, and I
Well,
also wanted to add, while someone joins us upstage, if they do, I just wanted to ask, like, if you ever run a crowd control event, or you're having issues, or you want to ask anything, like, we're also always here. We take pride on always trying to help our streamers set up if they're running into any issues, because for the charity settings, it takes a little few steps that involve like having a Tiltify campaign ID and stuff like that. So we always double check, test, and help people test everything. So that's also
what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
absolutely. You can just do discord.gg/warpworld, and in the crowd control channel, will someone will reply to your request.
We had a question in the chat. It was, how hard will it be to set up a charity account to receive money from the crowd control? But Jakku already replied with one of our Tiltify support documents. So
Thank
yay!
you, Jakku. No, it's pretty straightforward right now. On that same list, Hugo, for fun, you can see the charities that are currently supported by crowd control, but there are more on the way. I know that our charity team is working on. It feels like every week they're saying so and so is interested in joining the platform with this integration. So that's great. Also, if you know a charity that is already on Tiltify that you think, hey, I want them to fundraise using crowd control, don't hesitate to reach out to them. You can also shoot us an email to our support at tiltify.com, to say, I would really like this charity to have this integration, and we'll reach out to them and see if they want to opt in for that integration.
We're going to bring Mez up here to speak. Don't forget to end your statement after you ask by, I am done with my question.
Got it. First of all, Moni, thanks for joining in on this. This was awesome to hear you talk. We actually spoke a little bit on the Warp World Staff Twitch channel. You loved my Ugu Bear emotes, so it's good to finally meet you. I was kind of curious, was a charity component kind of something that was on the roadmap from the beginning of the inception of crowd control, or was that something that just kind of worked its way into your roadmap as you guys continued making it? That ends my question.
I love that question. And actually, yes, it was always in the heart of crowd control. We wanted to always support charities. Like I mentioned, we came from a GDQ speedrunning background, so supporting charities directly was what we always wanted with crowd control, and we knew the impact it could have on charity and the potential it had. But we had to find the right partner, and Tiltify was the right partner to make that happen, because at the beginning it was kind of like we didn't want, since right now crowd control, we would have gotten the money and then we donated to charity, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted it to be a direct, I donate, I get my coins, immediate support. And we're so glad that we made that happen last year with you guys. I think it wouldn't have happened other way. So we're super grateful, and it's exactly what we wanted to make happen.
Yay! We also have Chris J that's going to come on stage to speak.
Hello, Chris J.
Hey, how's it going? Love the platform. I've used crowd control several times for Link to the Past randomizer and for Super Mario World. I was curious, just cause this is so community driven and everything. Have y'all looked at adding more, was it effects to various games? And that is my question.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we have already. So whenever we launched crowd control, we only had 3 packs, and two of those were A Link to the Past and Super Mario World. And when we started, it only had a handful of effects. And right now, if you do a Super Mario World crowd control, it has tons and tons of if new effects. So we are always taking a close look at effect packs that we launched in the past, how we can make them better, how we could even add more effects. So we always take a look at those. So yeah, absolutely. Our effect packs aren't like we got them out, they're done. No, it's like you said, it's community driven. So if you get requests for more effects or maybe tweak effects sometimes, for example, for Dark Souls, I remember we had the invincibility effect, and people were like, this is lasting too long, maybe we should tweak the timing. So we're always listening to our community to see how we could add and alter effects that we already have.
That's great. We had a mention or a comment in the town hall chat of mentioning that Hugo for Fun mentions that he's not necessarily sure that one of the charities that he wants to onboard speaks English. And I encouraged him to reach out to them. It's not uncommon for content creators to reach out to charities and to help onboard them. And it's especially helpful if you speak their language, if they don't speak English. We can give some support for certain languages, definitely. We do have, Tiltify is international. We have over 3,000 charities from across the world on our platform. So don't hesitate to spend a non-English charity our way. We're happy to make sure that they get onboarded and treated well. Great. Oh, we do have somebody. We got that cowbell guy. Feel free to join the stage here. I want to click the button, Maggie. Don't you don't click
Feel
the
free,
button.
feel free.
I want the experience of bringing somebody on stage. Welcome, that cowboy guy. You're on stage. Maybe some audio issues here. Let's see.
Discord is notorious for that.
There we go. I had to unplug a controller so I could actually change my push-to-talk key, apparently. Hi.
Thanks, Discord.
Thanks for having me, first off. And secondly, I was wondering from a feature development standpoint, if someone wanted to get more involved with that angle, are there any opportunities to do so? And that's it for me on my question.
That's actually a great question. And actually, you can definitely. We actually collaborate with developers at different gaming communities. Actually, for example, our lead developer for Crowd Control, he actually was a Link to the Past modder in the community, and he created actually the concept behind Crowd Control before, and now he's our lead developer. And we also have an SDK to help create effect packs as well. And then we're even opening even more avenues for you to create packs soon, but you can always talk about that. Ask in our Discord. We have a developer channel where we collaborate with different developers, like I mentioned, and through the SDK, it has become a really it has become a tool for developers to create new packs for games that we currently don't support. But yeah, we collaborate with developers a lot, and even if the SDK doesn't apply to that specific game, we can definitely look into it and make it happen with a collaboration.
Sweet.
Awesome. Great question. We have a little bit left, so if anybody has any other questions, don't hesitate to hop up on stage and ask Moni about Warp World and crowd control and being a part of that community, as well as potentially having questions about fundraising. I'm going to give the requisite 7 seconds, and if nobody does anything in 7 seconds, then it's over. I'm kidding. Well, all right. Well, we've scheduled for a couple more minutes to chat with you, Moni. So if somebody pops up as we're kind of closing and wrapping things up, we'll definitely pull them up on stage. What is your favorite part of being a community manager for crowd control?
Oh man, you're really putting me in the spot here. I think in the beginning, I really enjoyed. I honestly really enjoyed just seeing streamers have fun with their communities. I think it is such a cool dynamic to see like the most loyal chatters in a streamer's like chat just like destroying them through crowd control, while at the same time donating and helping them monetarily. Like that's really cool. But I think recently one of my favorite things has been create working with influencers and creating amazing things for charity. Like right now that I've been like for the last month, my core focus has been planning, organizing, executing everything that has to do with our St. Jude event, and just seeing how much impact we're gonna do for this specific cause in this specific case. Like it just means so much to me. I think it's really powerful, what we can do through charity. And I think that has become recently my favorite part, especially, that I was really involved into trying to talk with Trevor and trying to get them on boarded. That also like it was a huge thing for us as well. So it has become really a really motivating factor to keep making this tool awesome and getting it to more people.
Oh, that's something, of course, we love to hear. That's right up our alley here at Tiltify.
Absolutely.
We love seeing creators doing good and using amazing tools like crowd control to do so. Moni, it's been awesome to get to know you, and I cannot wait to see what you and the crowd control and Warp World team does for St. Jude, and then later next fall for the Trevor project. Cannot say it more. We love crowd control, and we love that it gives another layer of engagement for communities to fundraise. And that's definitely how we've seen success through fundraising for our charity partners. And it's amazing to have you alongside us, doing the same thing. To hear your passion is just so inspiring. I'm so excited. So excited to see what's next, and I'm excited to see Stardew Valley. To be perfectly honest, I'm excited to see.
And that you want to know the
what chaos?
This is the biggest tease ever because I can't say anything about this, but Um, actually, like Stardew isn't even as big as another game that we're working on.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Gasp! But it's the truth. We're working on such a, like, everyone's gonna fall off their shares whenever they find out. But
Well, I cannot wait. And I
Yeah.
think that when you add more features and more games to that list, I know that more creators are going to be like, well, where's my charity? That charity has to use crowd control, and we can't wait to see it.
looking forward. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful night. Everybody who hung out, asked questions, and listened, we appreciate it. Of course, we're going to be doing these more often. Also, check us out on twitch.tv/Tiltify for interviews and talks with creators and charities. We're only getting started with this kind of content, and we're excited to talk to the people who make Tiltify and charitable fundraising so great. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.